This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alrighty, welcome back. Coming to you live, baby, from Craig's Inns, Acura of Pembroke Pines. And I told you Mike Fiorellino would be kind enough to join us here. He's got a very interesting show. It's called MikeNoGoneZones. You can find it on YouTube. And he goes to places that most of you and myself would not have the balls normally to go to, because you would think, well, wait a minute, dude, aren't you putting your life on the line if you go to Chicago? Aren't you like risking it if you go to Baltimore? Or what are you doing in Opelika? Well, his latest episode, he went to Syria. And with Syria, we have this image that all we ever think about is war, death, and destruction and terrorism. And it couldn't have been further from the truth. And by the way, he went through Beirut to get to Syria. And I would argue that Beirut was even nicer than Syria, and it kind of reminded me a little of Beverly Hills.
Actually, it is. There's a first of all, thanks for having me on your show.
Good morning, my man. How you doing?
How you doing? As you're saying, Beirut is definitely not what you think. It's very westernized. It's very European.
It looked like I was in the Grove, not our Grove, the Grove over in Los Angeles.
Right.
If you ever been there by Rodeo Drive, that area, that's where a lot of famous people go, that mall area. Mm-hmm. But it kind of reminded me of that. Hell, there's a part in your video where you walk by. There's this beautiful silver ticket booth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I mean, the work just to create that ticket booth alone.
I know. It's the media representation of it is so skewed. It's amazing. Oh, because of where it is.
Right.
And one thing a lot of people don't know about Lebanon is that it's half Christian, first of all. It's not this place populated with fundamentalists, not at all. And Syria, too. I don't know if you remember the video how diverse it is. It is massively diverse.
Yes.
It is not what the Western media portrays it as.
At churches there, you can
galore.
It's not just one religion. Multiple religions. You can
amazing
go in there
how
and practice.
Diverse it is. Amazing. Right. The president or the dictator, whatever you want to call him, he's an Alawite. Now, what is that? It's a religion that branched off of Islam over 1,000 years ago. They kind of became their own thing. So not much is known about him, and the West never mentions that either. They just portray him as a brutal dictator, which he is, by the way. I'm not going to sugarcoat what this guy does, but he is secular. And that's what sets the mood for Syrian politics. And that's why extremist groups like al-Nusra, al-Qaeda, and ISIS, they hate the guy more than anything because they see him as a heretic because he's not a Sunni Muslim like the rest of them. And because he has a secular government and allows alcohol to be sold, they see him as a monster for that reason.
Well, dude, you were in Syria and you were at a karaoke bar.
Yes.
And by the way, they were singing my favorite band, U2.
Yes, we were.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, they sounded really good. That one guy can sing, man.
Yeah, his name's Noah. He's the other American I had on the group of us. A really cool guy. We got along great because he's the only other American there. So, of course, we were talking about NFL and all that stuff.
Right.
But, yeah, we kind of bonded a little over that. And we were pretty drunk, all of us. We all got wasted that night. And to show you how wasted I was, I actually sang Despacito.
Oh!
Yeah. You don't want to see that video.
You should have put that.
No,
you should have put that on your show, man.
That would have lost subscribers.
So subscribe. Go to YouTube. It's called MikeNoGoneZones, and you'll find it's got a little world as the logo, and you'll see it. He's been to Baltimore, Opelika. The Baltimore one's kind of interesting because he catches a drug deal going on accidentally, and then let's just say that the dude that's kind of in charge of the neighborhood saves his ass, because he shows him what he does. Now, first of all, Mike, let's explain the show, because that's, I kind of gave an explanation, but talk to us what inspired you to do this, because a lot of people will think you're freaking crazy.
Yes, you're not the first.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, well, in your Syria video, the English guy, who's really nice, by the way, that helped you get the
Exit, yeah.
that helped you get in there.
Yeah.
And by the way, was that his girlfriend?
Yes.
Does she go with him everywhere?
Yeah, she's from Syria.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
She's the one actually secured the visa for me.
Oh, okay.
So big props to Nina.
Okay. All right.
And
so
yeah,
yeah. And he's a good dude, bro.
Really
It's
great guy.
A really, really cool dude.
And he's very young.
Young, man.
Very young, but his knowledge of geopolitics blew me away. When I was that age, I was doing keg stands and acting like a moron.
You're
and
right,
here
yeah.
he is studying geopolitics and being so well versed. He speaks several languages. I mean, I just imagine myself at that age, or what an idiot I was.
Yeah, but the only thing that is, like, he's dying to go to Iraq, and I'm like,
He's been there.
Well, he already went?
Yes, he's been.
Since that conversation?
No, not since the
Oh,
conversation.
no, it was Iran. I'm sorry. It was Iran that
He's been. I think he's been.
It was one of those that he hadn't
he's been to Iraq.
Okay, so then it was Iran that he hadn't been to
Right.
yet. And he wants to go. And I'm like, well, dude, why do you want to go there now? And I know you guys talked about it in your conversation.
Correct.
Like, this is not the good time to go there. But, I mean, it's just like, that's not a place that I really would want to go to. But talk to us about your inspiration on doing a show to go to places that most people would never go to.
Right. Well, it's part travel documentary, part social experiment. I wanted to see how skewed the media is on scaring us about not going to a certain place. Like, for example, Chicago. Bad rep in the media. And I have family there. I've been to Chicago countless times, whether to go to a Cubs game, I've been to a White Sox game, and I've never once had an issue. Not once. And I'm kind of clicked in my head, like, why is it portrayed so badly? And another place too, Colombia. I've been to Colombia more than once as a tourist, not to film. And every time I go, people are like, oh, you're going to get kidnapped, you're going to get killed, you're going to get your kidney stolen. All these crazy, they watch Narcos.
Right.
They think the car's going to blow up
Right,
and
right,
all that,
right.
explosions in the streets, gun battles. And you go to a place like Colombia, people are friendly, they're nice, they're happy to see you. They're not jaded because they don't get as many tourists as, let's say, Western Europe. Well, not today, but so they're more appreciative. And I was like, wow. You start getting these ideas in your head. And then I guess after Anthony Bourdain died,
Right.
you could say he was like the guy that pioneered this kind of travel because he go to unconventional places too.
Right. Yes.
And after he passed so sadly, I figured, who else is doing a show like this?
Right.
And it's like, well, if no one else is doing it, when I grab my camera and just start doing it myself.
Well, I mean, it really is an interesting show, and you get to learn a lot, and you get to experience a lot. Like, dude, just Opalaka.
Yeah,
Let's just talk about something that's in our backyard,
exactly.
and the things that you see at Opalaka that you probably didn't know.
Did you know it had that collection of Moorish architecture? No one does.
No.
Nobody. And there's a craft brewery there. Shout out to Ismael Fernandez, by the way. He is the owner of Legacy Caribbean. You can say the series was birthed there because when I first got the idea to shoot in Opalaka, I needed to find quirky places to discover there, and I pulled it up on Google Earth, and I saw this craft brewery there, and I'm like, it cannot be a craft brewery in Opalaka. So I had to go there myself. And when I approached him about starting this video, I had nothing to show him. I had no credentials, no website, no videos, nothing to show him. And he took a chance on me. And here we are 6 episodes later.
Yeah, that's amazing, and
Yeah.
that is amazing. And the Syria thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get any backlash from the government at all? Did I don't know? Did an FBI agent
No.
show up at your house or something? Like, what the hell are you doing there? Or
One of your son funny, when I flew back, it's not a direct flight. I had to go from Syria to Beirut by bus, private bus. And from Beirut, I had to fly through Istanbul, Turkey, and from Turkey to Miami. Now, this is before the whole coronavirus scare happened. This was way back in early January. And when I landed in MIA, I scanned my passport. The passport guy looked at me, said, welcome home, and stamped it, and that's it.
that's it?
That's it.
So you haven't had any guys with glasses and earpieces following you around or anything like
No,
that?
not at all.
Oh man,
Not
that's
at all.
amazing. Okay, so everybody seems so freaking nice
Yes.
over in Syria.
They were.
Like it didn't matter where you were; they were happy to see you. They were welcoming you. They were offering you whatever it was.
Yes.
You know that was pretty cool.
It was, and I never once hid the fact that I was American.
Right.
Not once. And they were all willing to shake my hand. They told me marhaba. That means welcome in Arabic.
Okay.
And I was blown away by the hospitality. And if you watch the interviews, I interviewed some of the guides
Yes,
there,
I watched
especially
all
Abir. She's the female tourist guide that was there. You know, very lovely girl too.
Yes.
And she's like, it's part of our culture. Syrian culture be welcoming to tourists. And I saw it everywhere in the shops, at the bars. You know, go up and get a belly up for a drink, and you know, they ask you because you're not ordering in Arabic, and oh, I'm from the States.
Let me ask you. Towards the end, you're in an amphitheater.
Yes.
That whole area that was destroyed, which I can't imagine.
Palmyra, yeah, it was sad.
I can't imagine what it looked like before all that destruction, because it still looked beautiful.
Yes.
The way it was, dude. That amphitheater was enormous.
It was.
It looked like maybe 15,000 people fit in that thing. How many? How many to fit? Because it was.
Yeah.
You were high up.
I was.
Like when you look down, I was like, wow, man. Back in the day, they had big. That's a big ass amphitheater.
It was. It was for.
And the construction, you can still see how good those folks were in those days to be able to construct things so perfectly, man.
Not only that, it was acoustically built because they didn't have speakers,
Right.
sound systems like they do. Like an actor, let's say they're putting on a play, he had to go front stage and center and project his voice to the back, to the last row. They did it through acoustics. It's amazing how advanced they were.
Yeah. Well, no phones, no nothing to
Nothing.
get in the way of the
Absolutely nothing.
of the show back in those days. In those
Unreal.
days, they were actually quiet during the whole thing.
Exactly.
So, and by the way, Beirut
Yes.
was, and I know you haven't taken out the short series yet on Beirut, right?
No. Coming soon. Wasn't in Beirut enough time to
I know.
film.
You told me I know
gonna be a
you
little tiny
mentioned
bonus
that
video.
at the end that it's going to be short, but brother, Beirut is gorgeous.
It
bro.
is. It is.
It like reminded me, like I said, of the Grove, and it was just like it was so nice, dude.
Beirut used to be the Paris of the Middle East before their civil war, and they have casinos, tons of nightlife, tons of anything you want to eat. You want Italian, Mexican, sushi, anything you want, you can find it there. It is a great city. Unfortunately, now with the whole virus thing,
Well, yeah,
tourism is going to suffer. Not just here,
for
everywhere.
everybody.
Everybody's going to be suffering the same thing. But hopefully, that's a city I definitely want to return and explore much deeper.
Yeah, because that
It is.
wow, dude. When the pictures you brought back, the videos that you brought back from Beirut were breathtaking.
It is. It is a great city. It's fantastic.
The good thing is you kind of you bring down the curtain, and you show us what these places are like. I mean, when you're in Baltimore and you're talking to these citizens that are probably going to make a lot of money in the reinvestment of certain neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
And you just would imagine. Now, there were parts of Baltimore that you showed that were
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of run down.
I don't sugarcoat
obviously.
anything, by the way.
Right. No, of course
Yeah.
not. Yeah. And you did that also, in the Syria.
Absolutely. The city of Homs
Yeah.
was the most destroyed city. It was the most heavily bombed city
Yeah,
during the war.
Yeah, it looked like they were just, crack dens. It's the only
Yeah,
thing that
it
they
was
could be from there on out.
Horrendous. But
Hey, you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've been to New Orleans, but when you drive out of the city
Yeah.
and just outside the city on I-10, there's neighborhoods that are completely destroyed from Katrina.
yeah, there was an amusement park, I remember.
Yeah, it's gone.
it's
The
gone.
amusement park is abandoned.
Yes.
Like you'll see some of the rides that are still there and all the weeds growing through it. But yeah, it's abandoned. That's the neighborhood I'm talking about is before
Right.
that
I know.
amusement
I think I know
park.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So in a way, when I was watching your video, it reminded me of New Orleans.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
like you could go and have some fun in Bourbon Street and then drive out and see some depressing ass stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was the same thing in Syria. There were parts of Syria that are just breathtaking and beautiful, and then obviously you go where it was a freaking war zone.
In the middle of all those ruins, there was a Syrian Orthodox church that is still up and running.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's-
And let me tell you, again, some of the churches you showed
Yeah.
also in that video, gorgeous, man.
I know. A lot of people don't realize that there's a very large Christian minority in Syria, and no one gives them any attention. The media just ignores them, and it just because I think it goes against their narrative that they want to sell everyone in Syria as like some member of ISIS,
Right,
which
right.
is not the case. And another thing that I discovered that the media kind of sold ISIS as a Syrian entity. It wasn't. All those fighters came from abroad, and their leader, thank God that guy's dead and put out of his misery, he was from Iraq.
Okay.
So
Right.
if anyone hated ISIS more than anyone, it was the Syrian people themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which you don't see it out on CNN.
No, no,
or
not-
Fox
no.
or nothing. They will not touch that 10-foot pole.
We won't see anything on television that you showed us.
Yeah.
They won't show any of the good.
No, absolutely not.
Because that's like you go and you show the good in a lot of these places. And that's something that we just don't see because it doesn't sell. You know,
Correct.
I've been saying for years,
Correct.
Football players, basketball players, all that, they go and do all kinds of great community work every week.
Sure.
Every week. And we get the press releases. None of us put it out
course.
because nobody's going to listen to us talk about them being at the Big Brothers and Big Sisters or at the Boys Club or at whatever it is, doing something good because it's boring.
It is.
But we want to talk about the guy that got arrested and hit his
Yep.
wife and then the trade and this and that because that's,
That's what moves the needle.
that's what moves the needle, exactly. And so a lot of the stuff, to me, was refreshing because it's really educational, you know, when you watch your show. So, Mikey, what's the next trip? What's the next no-go zone you're targeting?
Okay, I'm looking at Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I know. Well, first of all, international travel is a little hard right now.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes.
So-
Yes.
And let's see if we can go to Atlanta. Who knows? Maybe hope all
How
domestic
How
travel.
about Compton, bro?
That too.
How about East LA?
Yes, that too.
I
was
want to
gonna
see.
say
I want to see the real East LA with you, the
And-
real Compton with you.
Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes.
Yes.
And Memphis is another one on the list.
Okay, Memphis. Okay. I see. I don't look at Memphis and Atlanta like I looked at the other ones that or St. Louis.
Yes.
That St. Louis has been known to have some really rough neighborhoods, you know, overall. I didn't know that Atlanta was viewed that way.
No, well, there's only one area. There's a area in Atlanta called the Bluff. The reason why I picked Atlanta, one, I have family there.
Okay.
So I can kill two birds with one stone.
Right.
But also, Atlanta is probably one of the strongest economies in the country. There's a lot of Fortune 500 companies there, but for some reason, there's one part of Atlanta called the Bluff, which is just stubborn. It will not improve, despite unemployment being low. You can get a job anywhere. We're always looking for workers, whether it's at a factory or working for a corporation. For some reason, that area I want to discover why that area is being ignored. What's causing that?
Okay.
Detroit, of course, is an obvious choice.
Yeah, 8 Mile,
you know,
baby. Yeah.
Exactly. L.A., of course. That's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah. LA's got several areas you could go to.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that's that because it's so big, dude. Man, every time I go to LA, I am marveled. And I'm also not surprised why everything is so run down. There are so many bridges and highways.
Yeah.
In order to maintain the streets of LA, I can't imagine the kind of money it takes. And that's why their streets are all run down.
That and
It's way too, unless you go, of course, through Beverly Hills.
of course.
See, because you'll go through a bunch of rough neighborhoods, and then once you run into Beverly Hills, boy, everything is paved, beautiful, everything is perfect, manicured. And then once you get out of Beverly Hills, everything's all screwed up again.
San Fran, too. They're having all kinds of problems with their homeless.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could. I lived in San Fran, so yes. Now I haven't been there in several years, so I don't know how It's not called red light district. It's called. God, what is it called? That area. Oh man, I'm forgetting the damn name now.
I've never
It's-
been, so I can't help you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the hell it's called. I don't know if somebody's watching now. You can tell us. But there's an area that is a no-go zone.
Every city has one.
Right. Every city has one. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. Is there another no-go zone you want to do down here besides Opelika, since you did it already?
I was thinking Liberty City.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
definitely, it's a part of Miami that no tourists go to.
No.
Not at all. Oh, how about Miami Gardens?
Yeah. That's another one.
And you got to think they have the same address as where the Dolphins and the Hurricanes play.
Right.
How much of that money that gets spent there trickles down to that economy there?
Right. And they're adding a lot of events in that town.
Right. But yet,
Because that facility alone has a boatload of events.
correct. Whether it's a concert or the athletic events going on there. But how much of that money reaches the people that actually live there?
Yeah. Oh, I get you.
I'd like to ask that question to whoever's running Miami Gardens.
So once we get past COVID, what's the no-go zone outside the country you want to hit?
Peru.
Really?
Well, I have family there. Again, I like to
Okay.
kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
There's some parts of Lima that are really far off the tourist path. And now, I don't know how much you're familiar with. Due to the crisis in Venezuela, there are tons of hordes of immigrants leaving Venezuela going to Peru. 99% of them are good. They're just looking for work. But you have that 1% that is putting a bad name on all the migration of leaving Venezuela. There's a lot of criminals left Caracas. All
So
the gangs, a lot of the gangs left, and they're
Mario, you're talking the Mario boat lift,
correct,
basically.
pretty much.
Because back in the 60s and the 50s, the Cubans that came were hard-working
Absolutely.
Cubans ready to go. And then in 1980, as like they said in Scarface, Castro opened up the jails and crapped all over us.
Yes.
And that's basically what he really did during the Mariel. And that gave Cubans a really bad name because they sent over the dregs of the society.
Right. Nicolas Maduro is doing the same thing, by the way. He has something called colectivos to enforce his rule over Caracas and all the big cities. He has bands of hired assassins to enforce his rule
Wow.
and to rub out political opponents. It's crazy. I wouldn't mind going there to Venezuela to film, but I have to get a visa for there, and that would be
Wow.
I don't know, that would be kind of intense.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you have to fear not only the colectivos, there's something called the Sabine in Venezuela. That's the secret police. And they are known to torture, detain you forever if they think you're working against the Maduro government.
So let me ask you something. What is your research like? Because you seem to know the hot spots all around the world. So how do you gather your information?
I'm always on Google, first of all.
Okay.
And if just pull up any city and say what are the bad areas of like Memphis, for example, and it'll list you all the places.
Really?
Yeah, just do a Google search.
Okay.
Google Earth helps too.
Okay. So the website is Mike on YouTube. You go to MikeNoGoZones, subscribe, check it out. You're going to learn a lot, okay? Even in Opelika or Baltimore or wherever he's gone, the Syria one is freaking amazing. You're going to freak out with Beirut. I'm telling you. That wow, dude. I was blown away. I was like I go to my wife, I want to go to Beirut. I want to go hang out and just have fun at Beirut.
You know, they have casinos there, too. If you want to gamble,
it's beautiful.
drink champagne. Yeah, they have everything there.
That's crazy, dude.
It is.
And just the image I had of Syria and Beirut was so terrible.
Figure
You know
just a
what I
bunch
mean?
of jihadists running around.
Right,
yeah,
that's it.
cutting heads off.
That's it. That's all I ever think of is terrorism and war, and the place is all completely destroyed wherever you go.
Yeah.
It's just you live in a destroyed building and you go visit your friend in another destroyed building.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, but to be fair, also, I did not go to Idlib province in Syria. That's where the war's still going on, supposedly.
Right.
So we weren't allowed to go there, first of all.
Of course.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
But during the Civil War, too, Damascus never fell to the rebels. So that's why Damascus tends to be more intact than the rest of the country.
Okay. All right. It was beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which is that Crusader Castle. I don't know if you remember that part of the video.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
There's a massive Crusader castle in Syria called Crac de Chevalier, built over 1,000 years ago. And me, I love these movies like Kingdom of Heaven and all that.
Yes.
Oh, God. I mean, when you see that, I got chills.
It was, again, amazing.
Yeah.
Tell them first about the website, the Twitter handle, all of that, which is MNoGoZones.
Right, that's on Twitter. Correct. Or you can also go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
Okay.
You can find all the social media links there. All the videos are listed there. A little bit about myself.
There you
Everything's
go.
listed there.
MikeNoGoZones.com, and we'll have Mikey on again when he does another crazy trip. But
Yeah.
seriously, check it out on YouTube. MikeNoGoZones. Mike, man, thank you for taking some time, brother. That was good stuff.
No, thanks for having me.
That Syria video was too much, man.
And
Too
let's
much.
hope we can go see all the shows that we want to go see. So.
Yes. Hopefully we'll get our music back, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Because all they continue to do is cancel. Cancel. Although there's one big festival that we'll talk about between 1 and 4 that is still going on. It's pretty amazing that that one is still going on. Mike, thank you, my brother.
No,
Appreciate
thank
it. And when I said hi to Mike, I took out my hand and then I remembered and he remembered. So it just did the elbow thing, and
I'm not being rude, by the way. Just being cautious.
No, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing, brother. Plus, you've been all over the world. I don't know where the hell you've been. All right, we got to thank, of course, Larry Schlossberg and all the great people out here at Craig's Inns, Acura, Pembroke Pines. Bill, as always, cranking it. We thank, of course, Mike, doing great work. MikeNoGoZones is the website. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to head to Hialeah Park. We'll be out there 1 to 4. And we've got a bunch of guests, by the way, as we're going to have Jenna Lane at 2 o'clock. Jenna's going to join us to talk about Tom Brady going to the Bucks. Anthony Chang's going to join us at 1 o'clock, the Herald beat writer for the Miami Heat. We'll have a Dolphin president at 2:30, Steve Calabro at 3. So we got a loaded show, all kinds of stuff. We'll take a break. We'll wrap it up here. We'll see you at 1 o'clock live from Hialeah Park.
2-hour hiatus. See you.